always fair. No matter how honest you are, someone will betray you no matter how skilled you become. Someone less qualified will take your spot. That's reality. But the people who understand this reality, they survive. And the people who survive, they rule. This is a power you can't see, but everyone feels it. This is dark intelligence. Dark intelligence is born when people get betrayed, humiliated, and defeated. Some people break down from pain, others build strength from it. It's the kind of intelligence that listens carefully, watches silently, stays calm, and strikes at the perfect moment. While others argue, you gather information while they get angry. You calculate while they drown in emotions. You plan the future. Most people play checkers. You're about to learn how to play chess. But before we go deeper, understand this clearly. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. Use it to defend yourself, not to hurt innocent people. The goal is to understand the game, not become the villain. Today, you'll discover the psychological traits that separate survivors from victims, leaders from followers, and winners from losers. Number 1. Calculated opacity. You are never completely clear about your intentions. You only show what is necessary. Because when people know only half the story, their imagination fills the rest. And imagination controls people more than truth ever can. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Think about the most intriguing people you've ever met. They never explain everything. They leave gaps in their stories. They answer questions with questions, and sometimes they smile when people expect explanations. This is not about lying. This is about strategic communication. Here's what most people do wrong. Someone asks them a simple question, and immediately they explain everything: their plans, their fears, their motivations. They think honesty automatically creates respect, but sometimes oversharing only gives away power. Smart people understand something important. Mystery creates influence. When you don't reveal everything, people become curious. Curiosity creates attention. Attention creates respect, and respect creates influence. Imagine someone asks about your weekend plans. Most people say, "Oh, I'm staying home, maybe watching movies." That answer is honest, but forgettable. Instead, imagine saying, "I've got something important to handle," and then calmly changing the subject. Notice the difference. The first answer makes you predictable. The second answer makes people think about you after the conversation ends. This doesn't mean becoming cold or secretive about everything. It means becoming selective. Selective about what you share, when you share it, and who you share it with. The most successful people in the world understand this principle deeply. They reveal enough to keep people interested, but never enough to lose their advantage, because information is currency. And intelligent people never spend all their currency at once. When you practice calculated opacity, people start paying closer attention to your words, because they know you don't speak unnecessarily. Your silence gains value, your words gain weight, and your presence becomes more powerful. But remember this carefully. The goal is not to act mysterious for attention. The goal is to maintain control over your narrative, your energy, and your relationships. Number 2. Adaptive persona. You are not the same person with everyone. You adjust your personality based on who you're talking to. People think they know you, but in reality, they only know one version of you. Machiavelli once said, "A prince ought to take care that he never lets anything slip from his lips, that he may appear merciful, faithful, humane, upright, and religious." This is not about being fake. This is about being effective. And the truth is, you already do this naturally. You speak differently to your parents than you do to your friends. You behave differently in a job interview than you do at a party. You already change your tone, your energy, your behavior, depending on the situation. Adaptive persona simply means doing it consciously. Every person sees the world differently. Some people think emotionally, some think logically, some care about facts, others care about feelings. If you speak to everyone the same way, you'll connect with a few people and completely lose the rest. Intelligent people understand this before they speak. They study the person in front of them. If someone is analytical, they use logic and evidence. If someone is emotional, they connect through feelings. If someone is practical, they focus on results. If someone dreams big, they speak about vision and possibilities. This is not manipulation. This is communication. Intelligence. Think about water. Water changes shape depending on the container, but no matter where it goes, it still remains water. That is exactly how adaptive persona works. You adapt your presentation without losing your identity. Most people misunderstand authenticity. They think being authentic means acting exactly the same everywhere. But real authenticity means remaining true to your values while adjusting your expression to fit the situation. When you master adaptive persona, you become someone who can connect with anyone. People feel understood around you because you speak their language. And that skill becomes powerful in every area of life. Leadership, business, relationships, negotiation, because people trust those who understand them. But there's a danger here. Never adapt so much that you lose yourself. Your tone can change. Your approach can change. Your communication style can change. But your core principles must stay solid. The strongest people are like diamonds. Different angles, different reflections, different sides, but still one solid stone. Number 3. The principle of detachment. You are not a slave to any relationship, emotion, or opinion, because what you are not afraid to lose cannot control you, and what cannot control you cannot manipulate you. Machiavelli once said, "If we must choose between being loved and feared, it is safer to be feared than loved." Detachment is one of the most misunderstood forms of intelligence. People think detachment means being cold, heartless. emotionless, but that's not true. Detachment means freedom. Most People are controlled by fear of loss. They fear losing relationships, so they tolerate disrespect. They fear losing approval, so they stay silent. They fear losing opportunities, so they abandon their values. Fear creates weakness. Freedom from fear creates power. Imagine two people negotiating a deal. One person desperately needs the opportunity. The other person wants it, but can survive without it. Who has more power? Obviously, the person who can walk away, because detachment creates clarity. When you are not emotionally desperate, you think more clearly. You make better decisions. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding strategically. The strongest people are not fearless because life is easy for them. They are fearless because they know, even if things go wrong, they will survive. That confidence changes everything. Detachment also protects you from manipulation, because when someone threatens to take away something that you're not afraid to lose, their threat becomes useless. This doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop depending on them for your peace. There's a difference. Care deeply, but never become emotionally trapped. Work hard for your goals, but never become desperate for outcomes, because desperation destroys intelligence, and calmness creates power. Start practicing this slowly. Stop needing to win every argument. Stop needing everyone to like you. Stop needing life to go exactly according to your plans, and something strange will happen. People will begin respecting you more because they can sense you are not easy to control. Remember this carefully. Detachment is not about becoming emotionless. It's about feeling emotions without becoming their prisoner. Number 4. Silent leverage. You don't force pressure directly. You wait. And when people become careless, emotional, or vulnerable, your silence becomes the heaviest presence in the room. Machiavelli once said, "Never was anything great achieved without danger." Most people think power is loud. They think power means shouting, arguing, demanding attention, forcing people to obey. But real power is usually quiet. Silent leverage is the ability to influence people without speaking too much, without threatening, without chasing control. It's about positioning yourself so strongly that your presence alone changes the atmosphere. Instead of forcing respect, you become impossible to ignore. Instead of begging for value, you quietly become valuable. And over time, people naturally start moving toward your influence. Here's how it works. Most people talk too much, especially when they feel nervous. The moment silence appears, they rush to fill it, and in doing that, they reveal their emotions, their weaknesses, their intentions. But intelligent people understand something important. Silence creates pressure. The person comfortable with silence usually controls the conversation. Next time someone asks you a difficult question, don't answer immediately. Pause. Look at them calmly. Think before speaking. That small silence changes everything. Your words suddenly feel heavier, more intentional, more powerful. In negotiations, silent leverage means having options, even if you never mention them. When people sense you can walk away, they treat you differently, because dependence weakens position and freedom strengthens it. In relationships, silent leverage means adding value quietly. You don't constantly remind people what you do for them. You simply become someone whose absence would be felt deeply. That creates natural loyalty, not forced loyalty, real loyalty. In professional life, silent leverage means becoming the person people rely on during problems, not because you announced yourself as important, but because your actions proved it repeatedly. Over time, people stop questioning your value because consistency speaks louder than self-promotion ever can. But understand this clearly: silent leverage requires patience. Most people destroy opportunities because they want immediate results. They want instant recognition, instant respect, instant success. But silent leverage works slowly, like planting seeds underground. For a long time, nothing seems to happen. Then suddenly, everything grows at once. When you master this skill, people begin seeking your approval naturally. They begin asking for your opinion without you offering it. They begin respecting your presence without you demanding respect. Because true influence is rarely forced. It's earned quietly, over time. But use this wisely. Never use influence to destroy innocent people. The strongest form of power is helping others become stronger too. Real intelligence creates solutions, not unnecessary suffering. Remember that. Number 5. Psychological echo. You reflect people's deepest emotions back to them. Their fears, their desires, their insecurities, their hopes, and because of that, people begin feeling understood around you. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few truly know what you are." Most people listen only to reply. Very few people listen to understand. And that's why most conversations feel empty. People wait for their turn to speak, instead of paying attention to what's really being said. Psychological echo changes that completely. It means listening deeper than words, because every human being carries invisible emotions, silent fears, private struggles, unspoken needs, and most people desperately want someone who truly understands them. Think about it carefully. When someone talks about work, they're not only talking about work, they're revealing how they see themselves, their confidence, their frustrations, their fears about the future. When someone talks about relationships, they're revealing emotional patterns, their attachment, their pain, their hidden expectations. Most people miss all of this, but intelligent people notice it quietly. Here's the secret. Every person you meet is silently asking 3 questions. Do you see me? Do you understand me? Do you value me? And when your words answer yes to those questions, people naturally trust you more. That's psychological echo. You reflect not only what people say, but what they truly mean underneath the surface. For example, someone says, "I hate my job," Most people instantly give advice. Find another job. Work harder. Stay positive. But a deeper listener hears something else. Maybe the person feels unappreciated. Maybe they feel trapped. Maybe they feel invisible. So instead of shallow advice, you respond to the emotion underneath the words. You might say, "It sounds like you feel your effort isn't valued," or maybe you want something that challenges you more deeply, and suddenly, the person feels understood. That changes everything, because understanding creates emotional connection. And emotional connection creates influence. But here's where this becomes powerful. Once you understand someone's deepest needs, you can communicate in a way that naturally connects with them. If someone values security, speak in terms of stability. If someone values freedom, speak in terms of independence. If someone values recognition, speak in terms of achievement and respect. You are not changing the truth. You are changing the language to match their psychology. That is why this skill becomes powerful in leadership, relationships, business, and influence. People trust those who make them feel understood. But use this ethically. Never use emotional understanding to manipulate innocent people. Use it to communicate better, to build stronger relationships, to help people feel seen instead of alone. Because in today's world, being truly understood has become rare. Number 6. Ambiguous morality. You are not completely good and not completely bad. You simply understand that real life does not always exist in black and white. Sometimes power lives in the gray areas. Machiavelli once said, "It is safer to be feared than loved, if one cannot be both." This is one of the most misunderstood traits of dark intelligence. So understand this carefully. Ambiguous morality does not mean becoming evil. It does not mean hurting innocent people. And it does not mean doing whatever you want without consequences. It means understanding that reality is complicated. Sometimes, the decision that looks kind in the moment creates destruction later. And sometimes, the decision that feels harsh protects people in the long run. Most people judge actions only by appearance. Intelligent people judge actions by outcomes. Imagine this. You are leading a team, and one person continuously lies, creates problems, and damages everyone around them. The easy thing would be avoiding conflict, giving endless chances, pretending everything is okay. But eventually, that kindness begins hurting everyone else. So sometimes, the difficult decision becomes the correct decision, not because you enjoy being harsh, but because protecting the bigger picture matters more. This is pragmatic thinking, not emotional thinking. Another example, someone close to you is trapped in a toxic relationship. Most people stay silent because they don't want conflict. But real intelligence sometimes means telling painful truths, even if those truths temporarily hurt feelings. Because temporary pain can prevent permanent destruction. This is where emotional people struggle. They want to look kind at all times, But intelligent people understand something deeper. Looking kind and doing what is right are not always the same thing. Real life is complicated, and sometimes leadership requires uncomfortable decisions. But listen carefully. There must always be boundaries, because ambiguous morality becomes dangerous when people use it to justify selfishness. That is not intelligence. That is corruption. Your values must remain clear. Your integrity must remain strong. You must know the lines you will never cross. Because once a person loses all morality, they eventually destroy themselves too. The purpose of this mindset is not manipulation. The purpose is learning how to survive difficult realities without becoming weak, naive, or emotionally blind. Remember this carefully. Being strategic does not mean losing your humanity. Number 7. Controlled exposure. You do not reveal everything about yourself, because the less people know, the more they assume, and assumptions often become your advantage. Machiavelli once said, "Men are so simple of mind that a deceitful person will always find people ready to be deceived." Today's world rewards oversharing. People post every emotion, every opinion, every private detail online, and slowly they lose control over their own narrative. Controlled exposure is different. It means being intentional with your personal information. Not everyone deserves full access to your mind, your plans, or your private life. Most intelligent people understand something important. Mystery increases value. When people cannot fully predict you, they pay more attention to you. Human psychology is naturally curious. The moment information feels incomplete, the mind begins filling gaps automatically. That curiosity creates attention, and attention creates influence. Think about the most interesting people you know. They probably don't explain everything about themselves immediately. They reveal things slowly, over time, piece by piece. That creates depth. Controlled exposure is not dishonesty. It is strategic privacy. For example, in professional life, you do not reveal every skill immediately. You allow people to discover your value gradually. This creates stronger impact over time. In relationships, you do not immediately expose every fear, every weakness, or every personal detail. Trust is built step by step, and emotional intimacy should develop naturally, not instantly. In negotiations, controlled exposure becomes even more powerful, because once information leaves your mouth, you can never take it back. That is why intelligent people speak carefully. They reveal information strategically, not emotionally. Another important part of controlled exposure is your digital presence. Everything online becomes permanent. Every post, every comment, every emotional reaction. People build opinions about you based on these things, often before even meeting you. That's why intelligent people stay intentional online. They do not allow temporary emotions to create permanent consequences. But remember this balance carefully. Controlled exposure does not mean becoming cold, isolated, or emotionally unavailable, you should still build real connections, still love people, still trust people, but wisely. Because once people know everything about you, you lose the ability to control your own narrative. The goal is not becoming mysterious for attention. The goal is protecting your peace, your influence, and your strategic advantage. Number 8. Outcome obsession. You are not here to win arguments. You are not here to prove how smart you are. You are here to get results, because people who focus only on emotions waste energy. But people who focus on outcomes change reality. Machiavelli once said, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." Most people become distracted by things that do not matter. They want to look right. Instead of being effective, they want validation. Instead of victory, they want comfort. Instead of progress, outcome-obsessed people think differently. Before reacting emotionally, they ask themselves one question: what result am I trying to achieve? That single question changes everything. Imagine two people arguing. One person wants to prove dominance. The other person wants to solve the problem. Who is more intelligent? Obviously, the person focused on results, because winning an argument means nothing if you lose the relationship. This mindset changes how you handle conflict. Sometimes proving someone wrong only makes them more defensive, but helping them reach the conclusion themselves creates cooperation. Outcome obsession means focusing on effectiveness, not ego. In professional life, it means caring more about impact than appearance. You stop chasing attention and start chasing results. You stop looking busy and start becoming productive, because movement is not always progress. Many people work hard every day, but on the wrong things. They confuse activity with achievement. Outcome-obsessed people avoid this trap. They constantly ask themselves, is this actually moving me closer to my goal? If the answer is no, they adjust immediately. That is why intelligent people often appear calmer than everyone else. They don't waste energy everywhere. They focus only on what truly matters. This creates something powerful. Strategic focus. Instead of doing everything, they focus on the few actions that create the biggest results. In relationships, outcome obsession means prioritizing peace and growth, instead of trying to win every emotional battle. In self-improvement, it means measuring yourself by real progress, not by excuses, intentions, or motivational words, because results reveal truth, not emotions, not promises, not appearances. But listen carefully. Outcome obsession becomes dangerous if you lose your morality chasing success. That is why intelligence must stay connected to values. Real success means achieving goals without destroying yourself or innocent people in the process. The strongest people are not only effective, they are effective ethically. Another important lesson here is flexibility. Outcome-obsessed people do not become emotionally attached to one method. If something stops working, they adapt. If one strategy fails, they create another, because they are attached to the mission, not the ego. that makes them dangerous in difficult situations. They recover faster, they adjust faster, and eventually, they outlast everyone who stays emotionally stuck. The ultimate goal of outcome obsession is becoming someone who consistently gets things done, not someone who talks about success, not someone who looks successful online, but someone who creates real-world results, and over time, that reputation becomes power, because people trust those who consistently deliver. Now, you've learned the traits of dark intelligence, but knowledge without action is useless. So don't try mastering everything at once. Choose one trait to practice it for the next 7 days. Observe how people respond differently to you. Observe how your thinking changes when you stop reacting emotionally and start acting strategically. But remember something important. This knowledge comes with responsibility. Use it to protect yourself, not to destroy innocent people. Use it to become wiser, not colder, because the real purpose of dark intelligence is not manipulation. It is freedom. Freedom from emotional weakness. Freedom from manipulation. Freedom from fear. The most dangerous person in any room is the one with nothing to lose. But the most valuable person in any room is the one who understands human psychology and uses that understanding to make life better for everyone around them. So ask yourself honestly, which person do you choose to become? And remember this until the end of your life. True intelligence is not just about being smart. It is about being wise enough to use your intelligence for something greater than yourself. Stay strategic, stay disciplined, and stay powerful.